Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Morning, Breck.
I'm Breck Kruger,
I'm Remy Greer.
and this morning
I'm
we
Kay
have
Walters.
oh, this morning we have a special guest with us, Kay Walters. Welcome to Coffee with the Cowgirls, Kay.
Thank you.
Before we get started with Kay, how was your weekend, Remy?
Good. I was trying to think what we did this weekend. I don't really remember what I did. Oh, we had an RSNC on Sunday, but I don't remember what I did on Saturday. So I think it was blissfully uneventful this weekend.
It's not a bad dealio. Brendan and I were gone. We had our first weekend away together in a really long time. The boys stayed home and went duck hunting. We left them at home with all the horses and the
And,
things.
and weapons.
They were good. They were good. They were really good. We came home, the barns were clean. The house was what I would call clean for them. I was happy with that. I felt good. So,
Did they get a lot of ducks? And you didn't have to go duck hunting this year then.
no, I should not have to go duck hunting. According to my dumpster, they did get some ducks because the feathers are all in there, which tells me they cleaned them somewhere. Not sure where. Uh, it was a good day, good weekend for them. They did a little manly things, and yeah, proud of my boys. How about you, Kay? Do you have a good weekend?
We did. We went on the lake and did some fishing.
Nice. I was thought you'd probably say you were roping this weekend.
I picked up a new horse Saturday, but we're not going to talk about that. We'll see how it goes.
The verdict's still out. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Like I never like to announce that I'm going anywhere. You know, if people are like, "Oh, I'm going to this show on Facebook," I'm like, I'm not going to tell you if I went there because if I didn't do well, then I can pretend I did not go.
Oh God, Remy, you're so calculated.
I'd ridden in a sort. We put on a charity sorting a couple weekends ago, and my one girlfriend Christine texted me. She's like, "Did you not rot?" She's like, "Are you not entered?" Because I was up later, and then she's like, "Never mind, I found you." It was no times, and I was like, "Could I tell you that I didn't enter?" Just put it there. I was like, "I
She busted you.
did." It wasn't great. It wasn't my finest moment.
Well, this morning we have a guest with us, Kay Walters from Seneca, South Carolina. Kay is the owner of Kay Walters Equine Insurance. I met Kay. Have you met Kay, Remy?
I met her at Elite Finals, I think, in Fort Worth.
Yes, Fort Worth. We were there.
So I met her in Utah not very long ago, but Kay is a big part of, well, she's a sponsor for USTPA. Would that be fair and correct, Kay?
Yes, that's correct.
But Kay and I had got to talking. I'm sure Remy had conversations with her at Elite as well. She's more than just an equine insurance salesman. She's got a pretty dang good story, and I think that it's very relative and relative to a lot of ours. And so she's going to share that with us today. You want to just take a minute and introduce yourself, Kay, to our audience?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Kay Walters, owner of Kay Walters Insurance. I run the business with a few helping hands, and so I've been in the business for 3 years, and it's going strong, growing year over year. My husband and son and I team rope, and so that's what we typically do for fun or go fishing, obviously. And we have a farm here in Seneca, South Carolina, and so we're really busy on the farm, and then team rope for fun and try to go fishing some, hang out with friends and do family things. But I grew up in Huntersville, North Carolina, and I worked in finance for 20 years-ish before I met my husband and moved down here to Seneca, South Carolina. And then...
Before we get into that, though, Kay, I'm going to stop you because that was part of I was going to say, into our intro or into our talk today, because that is when I talked with you, that was one of the interesting stories to me, pieces of your story to me.
Right.
Remy, you did not move far from home. You
Yeah.
live in your vicinity, correct? You did
Yes.
not stray far from your circle.
I mean, no, not how about not geographically. I didn't stray far.
I mean, I just jumped a state basically. But when we were talking, or when I was talking with UK, you kind of led the a light, or your thoughts were a lot like mine, I would say, as far as growing up about, you were taught that you should go to college, you should get a 9 to 5, and that is where your life was. And it took a drastic turn because you went from kind of like I did, where you were working in corporate America and then went full entrepreneurship, just totally jumped, abandoned ship, which that is, it's a different deal for somebody who, I think it's like brainwashing, right? I think of it as brainwashing now, like the whole work the corporate job. You have to work the corporate job to have a successful life. But that's what one of my questions to you today was, or what I wanted you to tell the audience a little bit, is about how you went from corporate America to full on entrepreneurship. What drove that, and how did you get there?
Okay. Yeah. So obviously, I was used to the 9 to 5, the structure, the big company, the extra benefits. It's one of the things that you consider when you decide to create your own business or go out on your own is, well, I'm going to lose health insurance and it's expensive. That's one of the things that crosses your mind, unless you obviously you have a spouse that can provide the insurance. But my husband's a farmer, so he's self-employed too. So that was one of the things is, insurance, and then obviously there's a lot of other things like, self-doubt. Am I really going to make it? How
Because you
hard is
worked
this
in
going to
corporate
be?
America for how long, Kay?
Um,
Total, like, because you had a span of jobs through it, I know.
yeah. So, I mean, I worked in finance and pretty much corporately 9 to 5 for about, I'd say 17 years ish.
That was my turning point too.
Yeah.
That was the
Hey,
year marker.
good number, I guess.
Must be how long it takes a person to get through mentally, like prepare
Right.
yourself.
Right, for sure. Like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And then I guess the one of the other driving factors was, having a baby. Um, he he was in the NICU for a week, and um, I'm really OCD and controlling, and I didn't want anybody else to feed him and take care of him. I wanted to just, we prayed and prayed for this one. And, I know a lot of women struggle with pregnancy and all that. And so that was one of the, in the cards for us too. So, once you have this tiny human that you created, and it's your job to make sure that this little tiny human is healthy and you're doing all the right things. And I think that was part of it. Like, I just could not let go and put him in daycare or with family members full time, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Like, I felt like I never got to see him. And so that was a pushing drive too. It gives you, it helps you dig deep, when it's not just you that you're doing it for. You're doing it for your family and your children.
Remy's got 4 boys, Kay. She got the help of her mother, though.
Bless you.
Yeah. I'll take all the help I can get.
Yeah, it takes a village, huh?
She's got the little dirty farm boys too, so you can imagine. I do as well. I've got the dirty farm boys too.
They're the best.
They are.
So how long after your son went into NICU did you end up leaving corporate America?
So I actually was on bed rest before I had him, and I was lucky enough to work for a great company that brought me work to home. And so I continued to work on bed rest, and then I had him, and he stayed in the NICU for a week. And then obviously I took my maternity leave, and I started going back part-time. And it finally got to the point where it was like, okay, your part-time's up, you need to come back full-time. And that's when I just couldn't. I was like, I can't. Like it was all I could do to go to the office and be there 3 days a week from 8 to 5. And I had my Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday and Sunday with him all day. But thinking about giving up, those Tuesday, Thursday, I couldn't do it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to resign and figure it out,
You said you were on bed rest. Was that hard? So I was on bed rest I had a really bad miscarriage in between my first 2 pregnancies. And then my 3rd pregnancy, I had bleeding. So I was on bed rest for until week 16. And mentally for me, it was really, really hard. Was it hard for you or?
Very, yes.
I don't think I would have been very good patient for that.
I don't think I was either. You just somehow figure it out. Like I went to preterm labor at 28 weeks. I was riding the combine with my husband on a Sunday, and I went into preterm labor, was in the hospital for a day or so, I think, and they stopped my labor, but then they put me on medicine, to keep him baking, I guess. And it made you feel bad. And, I wasn't I guess you wouldn't call it 100% bed rest. Like I could go from the bed to the bathroom to the recliner. And my husband would get home from work and I'd say, walk me to the barn. And he's like, you're supposed to, I know I'm supposed to be, but walk me to the barn. I need to smell my horses and I will walk right back and I'll sit back down. So it was very mentally challenging, right? Because I'm not a TV show, movie watcher kind of person. So there's only so much you can try to interest yourself in on TV. And so I found myself trying to read books and, I think maybe that's what helped build the block to when I decided that I couldn't do corporate America anymore. Luckily, I had used those 6 weeks to kind of build up knowledge, more business knowledge, I guess, on how to make it out on your own. What are some of the things that, you can do? Because knitting and cross stitching wasn't for me either. My mother-in-law, bless her heart, tried to help me. And I think I got a stitch about a couple inches wide and a couple inches long. And I was like, I'm sorry, this isn't for me. So it was tough. It was tough.
No, I mean, it was hard. It was
Go ahead.
It's hard. I think it's one of those things that people don't talk about. I know we're going to go off onto more things, but I do think it's tough because I had modified bed rest. That's what they call it. My OB knows what we do for a living, which includes me moving a lot of panels and riding. So she told me I couldn't lift anything heavier than a gallon of milk. I could drive the truck and trailer. I couldn't drive the tractor, and I couldn't drive the trailer with it out, with away, 45 minutes away or farther. So I had to stay at home. And for me, I was used to working all the time. So mentally, it was a very bad spot for me to be what I felt like was useless. Even though I caught up on a bunch of things, but it made me feel really bad. And it also, as a woman, makes you feel like your body's failing at the one thing it's supposed to be able to do. I went into preterm labor with him, but they gave me the shots in the hospital, and I didn't have to take further medication after that. But
yeah, I would agree with you on that. It kind of makes you feel like the 4 walls are closing in that you see, and that your whole world just stopped. I mean, obviously, it makes you thankful that you made it to the point where you did have a healthy baby, and you don't want to be negative per se, because, a lot of people don't get that opportunity, but, in the moment, it is very difficult. You do feel useless and you feel insufficient, insufficient as a woman, as a mother, as a mom, as a wife, all the things, because all the things that you were doing got put to a stop. And so I completely sympathize with you on that. That's spot on.
Okay, when you were on bed rest, then I love the part about you probably weren't even thinking about it at the time, that was the turning point for your entrepreneurship goals, or the start of the road to entrepreneurship.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I honestly knew it 100%.
That's what I'm saying. You had no idea at the time that is where that was leading.
Right, for sure. I was trying to use the best time of my time, I guess, trying to do something more productive than watch Jerry Springer or whatever. So, and it did keep your mind off of like some of the things Remy was talking about.
It, say,
tried to take a little of that headspace away. But you're right. Like I didn't realize that what I was doing was a building block to entrepreneurship for sure.
So funny, like looking back at those moments in your life, like at the time you weren't even thinking about what you're doing, and then it's like, oh shit, that is what was actually happening, and this is what conspired out of that moment. And those are crazy revelations, I suppose.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So then after you had the baby, you brought him home and realized that the 9 to 5 was not for you anymore. Then what happened, Kay?
Then, I just took a break. I was actually a stay-at-home mom for a couple of years, and I worked around the farm with my husband, and I just spent all the time I could and soaked every moment up with our little boy, probably for the next 2 years-ish. And then I kind of got to the point, like Remy said, like, okay, I'm helping on the farm and doing all the things that I was used to doing, but I still felt like there was a missing piece of, I'm not really helping provide either. I am, because I'm helping my husband and I'm taking care of our son. But right, like I felt like I still needed monetarily to add to the family. Because I mean, I always had a successful job with a good income, and we were fine without mine, but we could have been better, and I could have been helping build a retirement plan or something. That's just how my brain works as a business-minded woman, that, I enjoyed every moment of the stay-at-home mom life for 2 years, but then it got where I was like, okay, well, I'm not providing, we're not putting as much in savings. What about retirement? Because when I worked in finance, I built retirement plans. And so that was like drilled into me from,
you were having a panic attack.
Right. Like, we're not putting anything in. Oh my God, we're going to both be 70 and I'm going to be trying to pick up bales of hay. Right. So I actually, it kind of fell into my lap working for a local veterinarian, an equine vet only, not far from here, about 15 minutes from the house. And so that was really interesting to me. Something that I always thought I wanted to do was, be a veterinarian, but I didn't take the time to go through all the schooling and all the things. And my best friend's a vet. And so I was like, well, I'll try it. I'll work there part-time. And I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I worked with an equine surgeon, and she does currently colic surgery and sports medicine surgery, and then general practice for horses. So I learned a lot there, about the equine veterinarian world and equine medicine. It was there that I got my certification for rehabilitation and sports massage therapy for horses. And so I took that time to learn a lot about, the ins and outs of horses and muscles and joints and all the things. And I think that's what helped me when I decided that I wanted to go out on my own with equine insurance. I could see it, when I worked in the office there, I could see the education of equine insurance lacking in the horse people, right? Like, I've had horses my entire life. I've, been competing in team ribbon since I was 19. And there was a lack of breakdown between the horse owner, the veterinarian, and the horse insurance. And there was a lot of misconstrusions. And so I don't feel like now, since I've been in the business for 3 years, that I'm an equine insurance salesperson. I feel like I'm an educator. Like, I like to talk about the benefits of equine insurance and why you need it. And I think the building block from stay-at-home mom to surgeon assistant or working at the equine facility helped me make the leap, because I had better working knowledge to continue entrepreneurship into the equine insurance business.
I know how hard it was, Kay, when I made the leap into full-time entrepreneurship. How hard was it for you? Because mentally you have to be so strong when you take that jump, the initial jump.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously I spent a lot of time sitting down talking with my husband financially. Can we do this? Is it time? Like, I feel like it's time. I'm not getting any younger. If I want to build a business and go entrepreneurship, I feel like now is the time. You know, our little boy was not a baby anymore, but he wasn't a busy teenager either, or locked into sports every other night and all the things. And so I just felt like it was the right time. He was 5, 4 or 5. And so I feel like it was the right time where, you know, he's in kindergarten. So he has gone to school from, 8 to 1 or 8, whatever it was. And then he'll be in school, the rest till 18, whatever. So I felt like it was a good time because I did have that window of him at school that I could focus on how to build and how to make it better, and I'm not going to lie. There were days that I'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and look at the computer and say, did I make the right decision? Am I really going to be able to make this work? Like, okay, what can I do today, to make today better, to make the business better, or how am I the next step to succeed, right?
Well, when we talked, Kay, you had said something, and I had just heard somebody else say it, and I'm like, gosh, like spot on. You hit the head on the nail, and it was you work your ass off some days. Every day you're working your ass off, but some days you work your ass off and you don't see any financial reward at the end of the day, and that can get frustrating after a while. I don't know. Have you ever been there, Remy, where you're working your ass off and there's just no monetary?
I run cattle and train horses for a living. That is like 99% of my life.
It's 6 out of the 7 days a week.
So the hard part, and we talked about that a little bit. We've talked about it on the podcast, right? Like when everything goes wrong, and for us, a lot of things have gone very wrong. But when everything goes wrong, you're like, okay, so is this the test, right? Is this the test for me that I have to overcome? Is this God testing me? Or is this God telling me, like, bitch, look away. This is not for you. And so I'm too stubborn to walk away anyway. So I just take it all as a bad test. But it's the same thing. We talked about her being on bed rest and looking at this. It's like all roads lead to Rome. Because like I have again, Breck knows me pretty well. I have a very weird life plan. It's not a life plan. I believe that we're going to get where we're going no matter what. We just can make it harder on ourselves to get there or easier on ourselves to get there. So I see everything as a test, sometimes a very shitty test. And, but yeah, like I doubt myself all the time. And I'm the opposite, right? I went to prep schools. I went to a private college. I was supposed to be a professor or a lawyer. So when it's 95 degrees and I'm lifting heavy panels, I'm like, I definitely probably did not make the right choice in my life.
We hit down the wrong road. Damn it.
It took a really long road to get to where I'm going. That being said, it
doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're working a 9 to 5 or if you're self-employed. It's a headache at both of them, or it can be a headache at both of them. So it doesn't really matter. The only thing with entrepreneurship is that you're at the helm of the ship. You're holding the wheel. So you have to keep it afloat, where you don't have that stress with a 9 to 5. You're not the one that's
but you own it, right? It's yours.
It is. Yes.
If it's successful, it's your success. If it fails, it's by that turn also your failure. But it's better to have something that you're trying to work for fail than I think to be hyper successful for someone else.
Oh, I'm totally all about it. It took me 17 years though to get to that point where I am totally all about it. But I think that if you're going to work hard, no matter what, you might as well work hard in building your own brand and business.
And I think the thing, like, I have a lot of friends that, again, prep school life. So I have a lot of friends that are hyper successful. And a lot of them are, now independent companies, but you could also fall into that trap, especially with corporate America, right? Well, they give you the raise so that you buy the car, so that you have to stay working for them. And then they give you the next raise, so you buy the house. So then you have to stay working for them because it's always a step up. And that's why I said geographically, I'm not far from where I grew up, but lifestyle wise, I'm a lot different.
Yeah, when we talked, when we had our conversation and you told me a little bit about your story, it was very intriguing for me, just the piece about, working the 9 to 5, and equine insurance was not on your radar. It's something that you molded in front of you, basically, and figured it out. And a lot of people don't want to invest the time, the resources into figuring out how to make something like that work. And I don't remember, maybe I did ask you if you had a mentor in that whole process, but I think that maybe I did and you didn't. So you had to kind of figure it out from start to finish along the way, which that probably is the best way, because then all of the pieces and parts of your business and how to run them.
I will say that I did have a mentor in the beginning. So David Buffamore, he saw the potential in me and said, hey, I really think you would be good at this. But he taught me to put skin in the game, right? He said, I'm not going to pay for you to go to school. You're going to pay for yourself to go to school. You're going to go to school. You're going to pay for the test. You're going to, if I think you would be good at it, but here's what you need to do to start. And so I worked in the office with him for about a month, and my dad got sick and my mom had cancer. And so I had 2 sick parents and just told him, like, hey, working in the office with you is not going to work for me. And he said, okay, you can branch out on your own, work from home. If you need me, call me. If you have any questions, if you need me, call me. And so it was easier for me at the time to work from home and figure it out myself, because I was able to get up at 4:00 in the morning and work, and then go take care of my dad, and then come back and work, and then go take care of my mom. So even through hardships, I think it helped mold me, because I didn't stay in the office there. That was where I started. And obviously, if it wasn't for David to begin with, I wouldn't be in the equine insurance. I wouldn't have known how to just jump and get started, but he has just handed over the reins and let me take off and branch off into K. Walters Insurance. But I think it gave me the flexibility that I needed. And then it also gave me the self-drive and the self-motivation to figure it out on my own, and, pay for my own marketing and figure out what is best, like sponsoring the USTPA and getting to meet you guys, right? If I didn't decide day one to become the equine insurance sponsor for the USTPA, and I have been 2 years in a row now, I wouldn't have met other disciplines of horsewomen and men, right? And so I think it's awesome when you sit down and look at your platform and try to figure out what's best for your business and which way you want to take it. And it's just great and rewarding the people that you meet along the way, and the things that you learn about other disciplines that I didn't grow up in, the sorting and the pinning and all that. And it's just it's awesome to watch and enjoy another sport on horseback.
Talking about not growing up with sorting and pinning, Kay, you also did not grow up as a roper or in a roping family, correct?
True. That is very true.
Kay is, I'm going to butcher this and have this all wrong, but is it in the USTR? No?
Yeah, USTRC.
USTRC. Okay, I was headed down the right road. She is sitting at the top of her division in the USTRC for the end of the year. And the last time I talked to her was probably about a month ago, and you were chasing that. That was your goal. Is that correct?
Yeah. So one morning a couple of months ago, I woke up to some Facebook tags and posts, and I was like, what is this? And I opened it up, and it was the USTRC Cinch Ladies standings, and I was number 3. And I'm like, no way. Like, I almost thought I was dreaming because, you know, I've worked at team roping since I was 19. So this is going to tell my age, but for 20 years. So, you know, I've won this year. I've won, or since I've gotten my new horse, I've won 3 saddles. But, you know, I chased trying to win my first buckle and first saddle. I started in 2004. I didn't win my first saddle or buckle until 2018. And so it was something that, I mean, that's a long, I mean, obviously I want a little bit of cash here and there, but it's just something that I've continued to work harder and harder at, because I really do love team rope and it's my passion. And, you know, my husband has helped keep me mounted, and I'm finally to the point where I got the right horse and we're clicking, and I've won 3 saddles now, and I was sitting third.
I haven't even won 1K. Okay. Remy's won a truck, saddles, buckles. She's won it all. I
won a trailer.
Oh,
also on a trailer.
Oh, yeah, don't forget that.
And we paid for our honeymoon from a World Series qualifier. What that was like when World Series started.
That's awesome.
My kids and husband have won a lot. I'm just
okay. Breck, are we gonna make it a goal?
No, I'm the world's best cheerleader. I know my stuff.
This is what it is. When you watch Breck ride, I love her. And she's like, I'm not competitive. She's hyper competitive, but she just won't admit it. Like, I will run barefoot across glass to win a quarter. So you know, we used to rope a lot. We don't rope very much anymore, but we used to rope a lot. It's also probably the most frustrating sport behind golf for me. So
I would agree with that.
It's You're just like, because it's me.
Oh yeah, prep schools, man. I went to prep schools. We golfed.
I feel like I'd be a really good golf cart driver.
Yeah. My brother likes to get bored around the 9th hole. My brother's like 6 years older than me, and then he would be really obnoxious on the golf course. So I don't really remember finishing very many golf courses because we would just leave. But like, so team roping is muscle memory and it's mental, because like all you have to do is have the same swing every time. And
you make it sound so easy, Remy. We
had Rich Skelton and Clay O'Brien Cooper doing a clinic at my house one time, and James goes, "Speed, you need to fix her swing." He goes, "I don't know how to catch it." It's because like I sidearm it really bad, and I can catch like that. But you like if I have a pretty swing, I can't catch to save my life. I am also not a good dummy roper, but you give me fresh cattle that are running off, I will not miss. But if it's like standing right there, nothing, I'll just whack it in the head.
I get it.
I think ropes are dangerous. I don't want to lose a finger or a hand or anything like that. So I don't.
It's really but like when you hear that whack and it comes tight, it's like so satisfying.
True.
It's the best. I also don't like, so okay, like it's not a big secret. I bitch a lot about ranch sorting because I find it highly frustrating. Breck likes to sort. She's starting to pen more now because like
I just like to ride. I like to ride.
So for me, ranch sorting is like I never come off of a good ranch sorting run and I'm like, yeah, that was awesome. I'm always like, oh my God, I survived that. But I didn't feel like that about team roping. I don't feel like that about penning. Like, you know, it's just, sorting is my nemesis. But I'm gonna go do it for 3 days this weekend.
Well, you, Kay, grew up in a 4-H family. Is that correct? And you did Western Pleasure. I swear you told me you did Western Pleasure.
Yeah, I did. I did Western Pleasure, and then I stuck with Western Pleasure for a little while, a couple years, and then it was just a little slow and boring for me. So I decided.
I was just gonna say it. I was in Western Pleasure too, and I'm like, you couldn't pay me to get back on one of them horses. Like it just looks painfully boring now. And I used to love it.
I didn't love it. I was bored then, but I would always get in trouble for like standing up on my horse or like turning around backwards and not paying attention because I was bored. So I decided I was going to barrel race, and my mom had a little hot-headed mare, and I put cones out in the pasture. The ground was horrible, but I was going to try to teach her so that I could do something faster and more fun. You know, it was a train wreck, but that's where I started wanting to do more speed event type things. And like I said, I started ripping when I was 19, but yeah, I couldn't go back to that.
Me either.
Do you guys rope in the World Series, or just, I know you're farther east, so it's mainly US 2RC, but every year in Vegas, I see like more and more entries from the east.
Yeah, we have a lot of World Series qualifiers. I'm actually qualified. I qualified Labor Day weekend. I qualified for the World Series, but I don't think we're going to be able to swing the U.S. Finals in Fort Worth and the World Series in Vegas that close together, December to April. That's just a lot of money and a lot of traveling for us, being away from the farm, and I don't want Weston to miss a lot of school, so it's kind of pick one or the other.
That is so hard. Remy and I talked about that last week, is navigating how you do it all. Like Reno, the RSNC show, Western States Finals, is in Reno this weekend. Well, we were gone out to Montana last weekend. We didn't get home till midnight on Sunday, which would have meant my boys would have had to turn around on yesterday and leave to go to Reno, which is 500 miles past Salt Lake City for us. Oh. It's a haul. It's well over 24 hours. And it didn't make sense because homecoming was this week and both of the boys were begging me to be here for homecoming. Navigating that whole, their years, I suppose, their years in school and the activities between your activities, it is so hard and frustrating for me because you want to do the best thing that you can for your kids. But
right.
You have to miss something. For us, it's going to be Reno.
Yeah, it's a balancing act for sure, to figure out which ones, and like I feel like that's why I've dropped down in the standings some too, is because I can't go to all of them, and I'm not going to because Weston wants to fish or he plays basketball or baseball, and you have to find a happy balance of what's important to you, self-worth and self-happiness, to what's important to your children and what's best for the overall family. And so we're choosing to do Fort Worth instead of Vegas. Not to say that I don't ever want to go to Vegas and rope, because I do, but
it's a different goal.
Right. You just have to, that one's going to get pushed back a little bit, and the U.S. is going to be in the forefront.
Remy, you've had to do it too because your kids are involved in baseball and so many different things. And then people are like, oh, you're not going to the shows. No, we're still going to the shows. But at the end of the day, you still have a family to raise and you can't.
Well, yeah. So we had like a perfect example. I really want to go to the Estes Park show that USCPA puts on as a national level show. It looks really pretty. It looks like a lot of fun. It keeps bumping up against the boys' baseball all-stars. And there's only so many years they're going to play all-stars for baseball. So, and it sounds horrible, but there'll always be another roping. There'll always be another penning. There'll always be another sorting. But I don't get that time back. And my kids like to pen and sort, but it's not their passion. And honestly, and James and I have this conversation a lot. You'd rather have them rope or calf rope. There's more money in it than penning and sorting. But even then, even with all the money that's in the Western industry.
That's the conversation that you're having, Remy?
Oh, yeah. 100%, right? And this sounds horrible. Why are you going to push your kids? And like, I love Cody Ward. But James and I have told him, we're like, if you're going to apprentice for someone, go work for a real horse trainer because the money's not here.
We've said the same thing. We want
and it is. I love team penning. I love it. But am I going to push my kids to do other things? Yeah, I am, because it's not a big long-term goal. And World Series is really big out here. It has been really big. It can pay you very well. My friend Mark B made a lot of money one year in Vegas. But it's even then, it's like, okay, so like you look at what rodeos are paying now. You look at what team ropings are paying now. And yeah, they pay a lot. You're still in it a lot of entries. So you start thinking about stuff like that. But for me, I don't want my kids to be trailer rats, right? I don't want to take them down the road every week.
Pigeonholed into one thing. Yeah. I don't want my kids to be pigeonholed into one thing. I want them to know how to cut, do reining cow horse, and I want them to work for some of them guys so that, I don't know, I feel like they have horsemanship skills that can blend into
if my kids don't want to do stuff with horses and cattle, then good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and not good. I want them to. So I have this conversation with every girl that comes to work for me, because I always have younger girls working for me. I should be their stepping stone. I'm not the long-term goal. Like, I should be where you stop off to have fun and figure out what you're going to do with your life. Because, and it's not that it's not that, but like, I am very honest with the girls that work for me. This is a lot of work for a little amount of pay, and really a lot of abuse physically to your body. Right. And if you want to do this, if this is your passion, I will back you 1000%, and I will hook you up with whoever you need to be hooked up with. But do not make a job out of this just because you like horses and you think they're pretty. You know, it takes a lot more than that. It takes having people skills to deal with clients. It takes real horsemanship, and it takes a thick skin, and it takes a lot of time of self-doubt to be like, did I really make the right decision? Because it would have been easier. And for my boys, it's the same thing with sports. I don't care what you play, but you have to play something. So I have 3 cross-country runners and a football player.
Do you ever, either one of you ever listen to Clinton Anderson? Because I did not like Clinton Anderson that much. I'll be very honest.
I will tell. I think I said it on the podcast. I will tell you my definitive moment with Clinton Anderson where I like fell in love with him.
His podcast?
No, this was long before the podcast. And I'd known, so there was actually 2 things. So one was, we were at Sun Circuit, and he went to go spin a horse, and it just bent around his leg like this, because, you know, he does like he used to do all the one side pulling.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes out, and Matt Mills was sitting on the fence, and Matt's like, I bet you wish you wouldn't have done so many one-rein stops. And Clinton just flipped him off and walked off. And I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. Like, but not like in a mean way. He was just like, and walked off. And then we were watching something on RFD-TV, and James calls me and says, Remy, you've got to come watch this. And I was like, I'm not watching Clinton Anderson. Like, I don't need the bullshit stuff you got to buy. I'm not doing it. And he goes, no, watch this. So he's like in an arena, and it is packed with people. And this is like 15 years ago. And this mare, he's going to lope this mare off. And of course, like his halter with the knots and the ropes and all that. And this mare pins her ears. And he takes both reins and just whack in between her ears. Ropes off. She pins her ears, goes, kicks out, and he whacks her again. And he's got the microphone. He goes, thing ever. And the best sales point ever. He goes, I'm not hitting her. I want her to think that when she pins her ears were hitting her. And I was like, if you can get a stadium full of backyard horsewomen to believe that you're amazing. I don't even care what you're selling. You are the best salesman on the face of the earth.
Well, Brandon is, because I've met him. When I worked for Purina, he would come to the Purina farm in Missouri, and he would sit with us and chat, and he was kind of a dickbag, I thought. I mean, he was.
I mean, he is.
Yeah, he was. And he drank a lot.
He is.
And I was just
but see, he's unapologetic about it.
Yeah, but he did not portray himself as the unapologetic person like that back then, Remy. Back then, he was
he whipped a horse in between the ears in front of a bunch of carrot stick ladies and sold it to them. So I was like, you're awesome. I don't even have to agree with you. That's fantastic.
Back then, like, the Clinton that I knew was the guy who was, like, still making a real good living, trying to be somebody he, like, biting his tongue in half in front of all them carrot holding women, still making a super awesome living at that. And I think that it was making him super unhappy. That's the guy that I saw. And so now he's kind of quit doing that, I believe, and he's got this podcast, and Brandon started listening to it, and he's like, you got to listen to this. He's like, he says exactly what all the rest of us are thinking, and he just lets her fly. He's freaking hilarious. I love it. I'm like, the hatred that he has built up for the last 20 years is coming alive on his podcast. I don't know. Where was I going with the Clinton Anderson thing?
It's because I said if you don't want to be a horse trainer, you shouldn't be a horse trainer, because there's no money in it. Because I mean, he does. So he made that in the Gage podcast, or I think it was on the Gage podcast when he did it. He's like, look, they thought you had to be unsuccessful and die alone as a flat hatter out in the middle of the desert.
I know where I was going with that. We were talking about the people working, and this last week he was talking about getting these young girls in there who they love horses, they want to work with horses, want to understand, they want to be him, is what they're telling him. He's like, they can talk a really good talk. He goes, but that's a bunch of bullshit. I don't care about that. I want you to go out and show me. I want you to show me when the going gets real tough and the shit gets deep, that you're willing to walk in front of me and do shit that I didn't even ask you to do. And I'm like, well, isn't that the damn truth? Because 99% of them, they've never, we've put them in such a place, this next generation, that they live a coddled lifestyle. So doing the shit is really hard for a lot of them because we've never had them do the shit, right?
Well, it's okay. It's like Kay was talking about going and putting cones out in her pasture, right? Like I grew up as a barn rat, a privileged barn rat, but a barn rat. So I worked for every trainer that I ever had. I used to ride.
I grew up like Kay.
So I grew up riding like 15 to 20 horses for trainers and not getting paid and busting my ass because I knew I was getting paid with education and information. From a very young age, I understood that. So I would go and work till my hands bled for other guys and not get paid, and understood what I got in return. And now I try and get girls to like load more than 6 horses a day. And man, it's hard work. I'm like, this is the fun, easy part. This is the easy part of the business. Just like going to horse shows for a K, right? That's the easy part. Being the sponsor, that's the easy part. It's not all the connections. It's not dealing with all the insurance companies. It's not filling out all the paperwork. It's not any of that. It's not explaining to someone that they didn't fill out their application correctly and now it's not covered.
Yep.
How did you start your own agency though? Because being an agent for someone and then starting your own agency is a different beast altogether, or at least it is out here.
Yeah, so I'm still affiliated with Premier Equine Insurance. And so I have a satellite office off of them because the underwriters are not just going to give anyone a contract, right? And so I still have an affiliation there with David Bufflemore and a partnership there. I just have a satellite office now and like my own agent number and that sort of thing. So it's kind of two different branches in one business.
But you navigated a lot of things too, Kay, because the thing that I see with equine insurance is if you find somebody that you like, it's sometimes hard to do business with them because they're not insured in a lot of states. But you kind of figured out how to get, because there's not many states that you're not insured in right now. Is that correct?
Yeah. So that was part of one of my main goals is I didn't want to just have to focus on the Southeast, right? Obviously, starting out, I had a lot of clients in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, right here in the Southeast, but I didn't want my hands to be tied with that. And so I've worked hard over the last 3 years. My assistant has a map here. I'm licensed in 46 states now. And so that's why I made sure before we flew to Utah that I made sure I was licensed in Utah, obviously before the elite finals. I made sure that I had Texas and then all the neighboring states, because, you guys travel. And if you go to the next show a couple of states over and your horse gets hurt, you call me or something happens and your friend's like, hey, who do you use? Man, she answered the phone at 8:00 at night and helped you. Who is that? And you can say that's Kay Walters and not have to worry about, am I licensed in the 2 states over that your friend lives in that doesn't have insurance, but now watching your horse get sick and you call me and they're being there for you, drew a spark in them. That's like, I need that, that'd be nice to have. Horses are expensive now, and you don't want to lose an expensive horse. And obviously you're not going to replace that horse, but at least you have the money to go buy another one and start not at the bottom, right? Not dipping into your savings account to buy another horse or, like me, I'm going broke buying another one because I need one because one's broken. But, it's nice to be able to serve 46 states. And when there is word of mouth, I'm still available.
So will you be at USTPA finals, Kay?
I won't this year. I've committed to the Truck Open in Statesboro, Georgia, and a couple of other.
He doesn't want to go back to Amarillo. I don't want to go back to Amarillo. no one wants to go back to Amarillo.
Yeah, Fort Worth would have been better.
No comment, Remy?
Anywhere would be better than Amarillo. And like, okay, look, I understand why we go to Amarillo. They give us a lot of money, but I'm like, man, this is too long to be in Amarillo. I don't actually like Fort Worth better because it's really expensive.
True.
But there's other venues. I mean, so we put on a really big show in Vegas every year, and Great American was one of our title sponsors. And I've seen them pay out claims on really like, and it's the same thing, right? People either over insure their horses or under insure them, but I've seen them pay out some very weird claims. And I think it's, and maybe it is just a culture thing. A lot of our guys up here have horses insured. As a trainer, when someone brings me in, like, of course I have insurance, but I tell people that if they bring horses in training, they should be insured also. And then I get the binders and all of that so that
I recommend.
I know who to call when something goes wrong.
Yes, and I recommend that horses be insured as well. And I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday who's new into the horse business, and he's like, hell, I didn't even know that you should insure horses. And I'm like, especially from someone like yourself who's just learning the ropes, it's an expensive hobby that you should probably have the insurance on them just in case something would happen.
Yeah, for sure. It's obviously a good conversation to have. And I do work with a lot of trainers that require it to take some liability off them. But then not only do we write specific policies for each horse, but we do commercial equine liability for trainers and boarding barns and lessons and that sort of thing. And then I can also write a farm package policy. So I tell the trainers, obviously, care, custody, and control is a good thing for you to have to protect you from a liability standpoint, but it's also a good thing to talk to your people that are bringing horses into you, like, hey, is your horse insured? And if it's not, you can say, it's a really good thing to have, or we require here, however you run your business. But it does take a little bit of liability off you, whereas they're more apt to not sue you over their horse dying or getting sick because their horses, that's going to happen, right? They're more apt to not sue you if they have their own policy and they're going to get paid. It's just what I've seen the trend look like.
Yeah, I mean, I think horses are always trying to die, and in new ways, a lot of times.
Always, yeah. And I tell people it's not.
They're upping the ante on it,
right? It's not when, or it's not if it's going to happen. It's when it's going to happen. Because I swear every day you're like, how did you do that? Where did the scratch come from? Why are you bleeding? Like, what happened?
Yeah, if you're not, and this is the other thing, like I tell people, they're like, oh, they're meant to work, and they are. Look, there's no PETA stuff for me, but like you look at how horses are built and you're like, that's kind of a big joke that God played, right? They have a giant body, big lungs, and a big heart on 4 stick legs, and they run real fast. And then we ask them to turn on top of it, so
Right.
I'm going to turn the tables a little bit here, but Remy, are you still doing good on your Facebook hiatus?
Yeah, I actually don't give a shit.
I don't either, but Brandon does. So, like,
James does, because he sends me TikToks, because he was the one that's like, you're always on TikTok. I'm like, I'm not always on TikTok.
Oh no, he's sending reels. Reels, Remy. There's a difference.
The reels are all the same. And half of them are TikToks. It's got a little TikTok thing. So I had this. So Kay, like, again, if you haven't watched all of them, I don't care what people think of me. In a very a very non-petty or vindictive way. Like, I care deeply about people. I ask people's opinions, but like at the root of it, I don't care what people think about me. So I got off of social media. It came out of something else, but now I haven't been on it for like 6 weeks. I think it's been a long time.
So Remy and I both were taking a hiatus from our.
But she announced her hiatus. I just ghosted everyone.
Well, I know I did it. I've been off of it for a while, and I announced it last week because. But every now and then, so Brandon watches it's my Facebook account, but Brandon's on it daily, and he looks at it. Anyhow, yesterday he was like, Breck, this is terrible. You should read it. There's an Amish family that has horses. I believe that he's from the Rochester, Minnesota area. Super sweet family. I used to sell them horse feed when I worked for Purina. And yes, on Monday, the kids were going to school in their cart and pony and got struck from behind by a vehicle. And it killed two of the little kids, and the other two are in critical condition. And the pony died. It just is heartbreaking and kills me that that happened. So,
Yeah.
prayers to the Miller family. And I just wanted to share that with you, Remy.
So I will tell you, I had to unfollow news outlets a long time ago on social media, not because I thought it was fake news, but because it was like, especially out here, it was almost everything was like a murder, a robbery gone wrong, or a child molestation. And I was like, I'm okay not seeing any of this. So I never want to see things like that.
I know.
And I'm going to pretend that it doesn't happen. And I'm sorry for them as a family. But
so, anywho, well, thank you so much for your time, Kay. I hope you had fun today, this morning.
Absolutely.
This morning.
Also, side note, where I was going with it, I don't care. It's been great to be off of social media because it really is like I have nobody passing a judgment on anything. Not that it mattered, but like I don't have to see them be judgy to other people either.
I don't know why I really got off of it. I just feel like it was giving me an icky feeling. You know that icky feeling that you sometimes get from social media? I think that's the only reason I got off of it, because I just needed a break. And sometimes I just get so tired of like things are not perfect, and I don't like life is not perfect. It's not meant to be perfect. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
Leave that.
I like to
leave that there.
My life is fantastic and amazing, and nothing ever goes wrong.
Can I also tell you guys this story of something that happened? For that. I feel like you might appreciate this. So we left on Thursday to go out to Montana, Kay. And as I age, I get weirder and weirder about certain things. Food being one of them.
Did you have to cross a bridge to get there?
I feel like I'm overcoming that fear. We did cross several, and I was getting better, but I'm at the stage or point in my life where I'm super weird about food. Could never do a potluck. Not really into that. I could if I knew if there was a name tag on each dish that said where it came from. I could then, but
we could judge the people for their cleanliness of their food.
So I was starving. I was so hungry, but we couldn't get into a lot of places with our truck and trailer. So we stopped in Miles City, and there happened to be a truck stop with McDonald's within walking distance. And Brandon said, "You walk, I'll fill up with diesel. You go get us food." I said, "Deal." So I walk over there, and as I'm walking into McDonald's, there's an employee sitting on the curb looking at his phone with his finger like clear up in his nose. And I was like, oh my God, dear baby Jesus, I don't think I can do this. So I walked in there, I ordered Brandon his food, and I got a coffee. And I went to the bathroom, and I called him from the bathroom. I'm like, "Are you still in the truck stop?" And he's like, "Yeah, why?" I'm like, "Just grab me a bag of Gardettos." And he's like, "Oh, okay." So we get in the truck. I've got my coffee, my Gardettos, and I hand him his bag. And he's like almost done with his sandwich. And he looked over at me, and he's like, "What? Why are you eating?" I'm like, "Oh, I wasn't hungry." And he's like, "Huh." He takes another bite, and he's like, "Why aren't you eating?" I'm like, "Nothing, just continue. Eat your sandwich."
Eat your sandwich before I make you throw it all up.
And then he like throws the sandwich down, and he goes, "What the fuck did you see?" "Nothing. I didn't see anything. You don't want to know. Just eat your sandwich." Oh God, you guys. I can't do it.
See, I figure I have enough like antibiotics and vaccines in me from all the stuff we do. Like if that
you would have eaten that. You would have went in there and eaten that.
I mean, he wasn't the one making your sandwich. He was sitting on the curb.
Yeah,
no, he went in. I knew he was going in. He walked back in, and then he was back in there.
Look, I can blow your mind with. Do you eat peanut butter?
Do
you eat peanut butter?
Stop it right now, Remy.
I mean,
I
I can
do
blow
eat
your mind
peanut
with all
butter and I
sorts of
really
wrong
like it. I'm
facts.
not listening to you. La
But
la la.
I'm not going to say it, but there's gross facts about peanut butter. But I think we all pick stuff to get weird about. Like, okay, so I can't, when I drive, I can't have stuff on my lap. I can have stuff around my feet. If I have stuff on my lap, I get claustrophobic and hot and like lose my shit. Like
what would you have on your lap when you're driving? Give me an example. I don't understand.
Like one day we were like, I'll be working on the laptop or I got stuff and James gives me papers and I'm supposed to be looking at them and I just get like. Another time we were making party favors on the way to somewhere and I like.
So you weren't driving?
No, it's in the passenger
Oh. I know. Weird stuff. All right. Well, thank you anyhow for your time today, Kay. It was a good conversation. We appreciate you coming on with us.
And where can people find you, okay?
I have Facebook, Instagram, a website. If you don't do social media, kwalters.com. There's a link where you can get a quote. My cell phone number is all over the Facebook or the website.
Nice.
Or to team roping.
Or to team roping.
Luck.
We had the truck roping in October.
Keep us posted to how you're doing in the year end.
Yeah, the finals are in April next year for this year. So, but.
Well, best of luck.
Let you know. Thank you. It was nice talking to y'all. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Well, we'll see everybody next week. Until then,
be bold.
Be brave.
Be humble.
Did I get that wrong?
You did. Look at you, gold star.
All right. See you next week. Thank you again, Kay.